Okay, so imagine, right, you're just walking along and you see a snail. Pretty normal, right?
Mhm.
But picture this. This snail is huge EE, like rat-sized huge.
Yeah, that's the African giant snail.
And that's what we're going to be diving into today.
Definitely not your average garden
No,
snail.
not at all.
The African giant snail. The Latin name is Achatina fulica,
Okay,
and they are fascinating. They're one of the top 100 invasive species in the whole world.
that's crazy. So what makes them so giant?
Well, I mean, the name kind of gives it away, right? They
Yeah.
can get up to 8 inches long, and their shells
Wow.
are so tough that there have been cases where they actually punctured car tires.
Seriously.
Uh,
That's a serious shell. I could see how that would be helpful getting around in new places.
Absolutely. Think of it as like a mobile fortress.
Oh, yeah.
Protection from predators, bad weather, things like extreme temperatures or droughts.
Right.
They can actually hibernate for, get this, up to 3 years
What?
by sealing themselves inside their shells with mucus.
That's incredible. So they've got this like inbuilt survival mechanism.
Yeah.
But snails can't just hide all the time.
Right.
They got to eat.
Well, yeah.
What does a giant snail eat?
Well, their diet is, honestly, it's as diverse as the habitats they live in.
Okay.
Over 500 different plant species that they've been known to eat.
Wow. Picky eaters, huh?
Not really.
No.
And get this, they've even been known to eat beer.
Wait, beer.
Yeah.
Beer drinking snails. That's not what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay. How did they get from East Africa to basically everywhere?
Well, it's largely us.
Oh, no.
Human activity. They were intentionally introduced to different places as a potential food source, or sometimes for the pet trade.
Okay.
Their size, how fast they reproduce, people thought they'd be a good option, but
Yeah, it got backfired.
yeah,
Yeah.
big time. They adapted really quickly to new environments
Okay.
and started outcompeting native species.
So their trip out of Africa is kind of a warning, right?
Yeah,
About, being careful about what we introduce to new environment.
exactly. And the thing is, once they're established somewhere, they're really hard to get rid of.
Oh, right, because they can hibernate, right, for
Oh.
like years.
Yeah,
And they come out at night.
they're nocturnal, yeah.
So they're kind of sneaky.
Yeah, they slip under the radar and build these huge populations before anyone even notices.
I always hear that they're actually really fast, too.
Yeah,
For a snail, I mean.
they are. I mean, yeah, they seem slow, but they can actually cover quite a bit of ground at night.
Okay, how much are we talking?
About 50 meters,
Wow.
which, yeah, doesn't sound like a lot.
It does for a snail.
It does for a snail.
Yeah.
And it means they spread really quickly, and that makes them even harder to control.
Like in Florida.
Yeah,
I remember reading about that.
millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Over a decade trying to get rid of them. They even had, like, sniffer dogs.
Oh, wow. Sniffer dogs, that's commitment.
Yeah.
That's expensive, though, too.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways to manage these populations without the sniffer dogs?
Yeah, there are, and some of them are actually surprisingly low tech.
Okay.
India, for example, they did this bounty system
Oh, interesting.
where they encouraged farmers to collect and kill the snails.
Oh, so they like turned it into a side hustle, kind of.
Exactly.
That's
And it was pretty cost effective, too.
That's a great idea. Okay, so we've got these super snails. They're spreading everywhere. They're eating everything, and they're hard to get rid of.
It's a problem.
Yeah. And it's not just about crops.
No, it's not.
Their impact goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Christmas Island
Yeah.
in the Indian Ocean.
It's a great example of how invasive species can really disrupt ecosystems.
Right, with the red crab migration.
Exactly.
It's amazing. I've seen pictures of it.
It's incredible.
It's just millions of crabs all over the place.
Yeah, so initially, those red crabs were the top predator on the island,
Okay.
and they actually kept the snail population in check.
Oh,
They would, feast on the snail eggs during their migration.
well, that makes sense.
It was like a natural balance.
Yeah.
But then we talked about those crazy ants earlier.
Right. They kind of mess things up, huh?
Yeah, they really did. The yellow crazy ants were introduced, and that just completely changed everything. They prey on the red crabs.
Oh.
So they decimated their population, and that allowed the African giant snail population to explode.
Wow. So it's like one invasive species paving the way for another?
Exactly.
What a mess. But wait, there's another snail in this story, right?
Yes, there is.
Another invasive one.
In Hawaii, they actually tried to control the African giant snail population by introducing another snail,
Oh, no.
the rosy wolf snail.
That sounds like fighting fire with fire.
Yeah,
Did it work?
not really. The rosy wolf snail, it does eat other snails,
Okay.
but it turned out that it preferred the native Hawaiian snails.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So they added another invasive predator to the mix.
They did.
What were they thinking?
The native snails were just easier to catch than the big, tough African giant snails.
Okay, so tell me about these rosy wolf snails.
Sure.
They sound like pretty serious predators, huh?
They are. They're fast.
How fast?
Up to 8 millimeters per second, which, I mean,
That's pretty fast for a snail.
for a snail it is.
Huh.
And they follow the slime trails left by other snails to hunt them down.
It's like a snail bloodhound.
Mm-hmm.
So now Hawaii has 2 invasive snail problems.
Yeah, they do.
What are they doing about it?
Well, at this point, they're focusing on protecting the native snails that are left.
Okay.
They're making these high-tech enclosures.
Really?
Yeah, they're using copper mesh and electric fences, even salt barriers.
Wait, we're trying to keep snails OUT now.
Yeah.
So we went from bringing snails in to control other snails
Mhm.
to building fortresses to protect snails.
Pretty much.
That's ironic.
It really is.
But our wild population's still a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a good example of how hard it is to manage invasive species.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm kind of glad we talked about them as a food source earlier,
Yeah.
because that's actually kind of making a comeback now, right?
It is, in a more sustainable way.
Okay.
They've been eaten in Africa for a long time, traditionally.
Yeah.
And now snail farming is getting more and more popular.
Okay.
It's a way to manage the populations and provide food.
So we're kind of coming full circle.
We are.
But that's not the only surprising use for these snails, is it? There's something about snail slime, too, right?
Oh, yeah, snail slime. It's become a popular ingredient in beauty products now.
Really?
Yeah, people think it moisturizes and has anti-aging properties.
What?
Yeah, some farms are even doing these humane methods of collecting the slime now.
How do you humanely collect snail slime?
It's called a snail sauna.
A snail sauna. That's a new one.
Yeah, they mist the snails with a special spray to make them produce more slime.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely better than the old methods, which used salt.
It sounds harsh.
It was.
Yeah,
This way is much better for the snails.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all about ethical beauty, but snail slime,
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, it's not for everyone, but it just goes to show how versatile these creatures are.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
how we're constantly changing the way we think about them.
Who knew a garden pest could be so useful?
Right.
This deep dive has been amazing.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd learn so much about the African giant snail.
Me neither.
We've gone from them eating their way across the world to snail slime facials.
It's been a journey.
It really has.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About how connected everything is in nature.
It does. It's humbling. We've been talking about how difficult it is to manage these snail populations and all the problems they cause. Is there, like, any hope?
I mean, it's unlikely that we can completely get rid of them everywhere.
Yeah.
But, scientists are working on it,
Okay,
trying to find better ways to control them.
that's good. What are they looking at?
Well, one thing is biological control. Introducing natural predators.
Oh, like with the rosy wolf snail.
Yeah, but obviously we got to be super careful with that.
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
Exactly. We don't want to make things worse.
Right. Are there any other options?
Yeah, some researchers are working on developing snail-specific pesticides.
Okay. So basically target the snails without hurting other things.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah,
It sounds like a tough problem.
it is.
But it's good to know people are working on it.
It is.
And it's not just scientists, though, right?
No, it's not.
We can all do our part to stop invasive species.
Exactly. It's all about awareness.
Yeah. So what can our listeners do?
Well, just be mindful when you travel.
Oh,
Check your bags, shoes, your car even. Make sure you're not bringing any snails back with you.
Oh, like hitchhiking snails.
Exactly. Or their eggs even.
Wow, I never thought about that. What if I see a suspicious snail in my garden?
Report it.
To, like, the authorities?
Yeah, your local authorities or agricultural extension.
Okay, got ya.
Catching things early is really important.
Right. So we can actually make a difference.
We can. Even small actions can add up and make a big impact.
That's a good reminder. I think we've covered a lot about the African giant snail today.
Yeah, we have.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And it's amazing how something we might just think of as a pest can actually be so interesting.
It is. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you really hope people will remember?
I guess I'd say, next time you see a snail,
Yeah.
don't just think, "Ugh, a snail."
Okay.
Think about where it came from.
Yeah.
How it got there, how tough it is. They really are amazing creatures.
That's true. We tend to overlook the little things.
We do.
but there's so much to learn from them.
There really is. They can teach us about adaptation, about how connected everything is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe even about sustainability?
Exactly. Maybe that snail in your backyard holds the key to some big scientific discovery.
No, that's a thought. I think we'll leave our listeners with that image. Oh, wow, what a deep dive this has been. From giant snails drinking beer to snail saunas and slime facials. I learned way more than I expected.
Right. It really shows you that there's always something new to learn,
Yeah,
even about things we think we already know.
totally. So as we wrap things up here, what's the big takeaway?
Hmm. Well, I hope everyone listening realizes that nature is full of surprises. I mean, even something like a snail, right,
Yeah,
can be so adaptable, so resilient.
it's true.
And they have this, like, unexpected value. Their journey, how they affect different ecosystems, and now food and beauty products is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it shows how interconnected everything really is.
It does.
So don't just see a snail and think pest, right?
Exactly.
There's more to it than that.
Think about its journey, how it fits into the bigger picture.
Absolutely. That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of the African giant snail. We'll see you next time.